Good morning, Doc, and good morning, classmates. And by the way, we are here to present to you the joints, and we are the group 5. Consist of Abigail D. Bauson, Christine S. Marquez, Claire N. Vargas, and Angel R. Heneta. Articulations or joint. Articulation or joint are structures in the skeleton where two or more bones join together. But before we continue to our discussion, here are the goals for our discussion for today. First is the classification of joints. Second is to distinguish different classes and types of joints. Third is to identify different types of joint movement and motion. Let us now proceed to the classification of joints. First is the fibrous joints. Fibrous joints are found where fibrous connective tissue tightly binds the articulating bones. Then second is the cartilaginous joints. Cartilaginous joints are formed where a mass of cartilage joins bones. Then last is the synovial joints. Synovial joints are always freely movable. Or diarthrotic joints, a flexible joint capsule composed of ligaments and other connective structures and lined with the lubricating synovial membrane, allows a wide range of movement. Categories of synovial joints are based on the way in which the articulating bones fit together. And now let's proceed to the types of fibrous joints. First is the suture. The suture, this is the joint between two flat bones as between the left and right parietal bones or the sagittal bones. Ayan, kung makikita natin dito sa image, is yung nagko-connect sa dalawang flat bones, yun yung tinatawag natin na suture. Then next is the syndesmosis. Syndesmosis bands of fibrous tissue binds together, or what we call the radius and ulna. Ayan. Ayan, kung makikita natin dito sa image, ayan, si radius and ulna. Then, yung nasa gitna, kung ano yung nagbabind kay radius and ulna, yun yung tinatawag natin na syndesmosis. Then, last is the gomphosis. Gomphosis is a fibrous membrane that connects each tooth to its socket in the jaw alveolar process. Ayan, dito nga. Ayan, kung mapapansin nyo, is si gosmosis yung nagko-connect sa mga ngipin natin tsaka sa alveolar process. Then next, let us proceed to the types of cartilaginous joints. First is the synchondrosis. Synchondrosis is a hyaline cartilage connects to the bones. Ayan, kung mapapansin natin, yung mga maliliit na cartilage na tinatawag natin na hyaline cartilage, yun yung mga nagko-connect sa mga bones natin. Then next is the costal cartilage. Costal cartilage is located between the ribs and sternum. Kung mapapansin nyo kasi is yung ribs natin meron siyang parang matigas, di ba yung pinaka-ribs. Then yung nagko-connect kay ribs and kay sternum, yun yung tinatawag natin na costal cartilage. Then next is the symphysis. Symphysis is the fiber cartilage forming joints and symphysis pubis. Symphysis pubis joining right and left coccyx. Ayan, kung makikita natin dyan is naka-indicate yung may star. Yun yung tinatawag natin na symphysis pubis or the pubic symphysis.
One bone pivots on the axis of the other, allowing rotation. Pivot joint, also known as trochoid or rotary joint. It is a freely movable joint that allows rational movement around the single axis, na kung saan ang atlas ang unang cervical vertebrae na sumusuporta sa skull, and yung axis ay ang pangalawang cervical vertebra na bumubuo ng pivot sa atlas through dens or odontoid process. Next is saddle joint. Two saddle-shaped processes fit together allowing movement in two planes. Sudden joint with a concave or convex surface that provides biaxial movement that are similar to ellipsoid joint. It presents between carpometacarpal joint of the thumb. 6. Ball and socket joint. Ball fits in a round fossa allowing unrestricted movement. Ball and socket presents in shoulder and hips, which is the head of humerus fits in the glenoid cavity or fossa of the scapula. It allows movement like flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, circumduction, and so on. Next is the parts of synovial joints, which are the articulating bones, articulating cartilages, joint capsule, synovial membrane, synovial fluid, and synovial activity, which is articulating bones, which is the bone that's separated by the joint cavity. Articulating cartilages, it is the one that there are color white type in the image. It is the type of tissue that covers the bones at a joint and it helps to reduce the friction of movement within a joint. Next is joint capsule. It's made of an outer layer, which is the articular layer that keeps the bones together structurally. Synovial membrane. Synovial membrane, it lines the joint and seals it into a joint capsule. Also, it secretes a clear sticky fluid which is called the synovial fluid that are around the joint to lubricate it. Next is synovial fluid. As what I said a while ago, it is a clear sticky fluid produced by synovial membrane. Synovial cavity. Synovial cavity or joint is filled with synovial fluid. In the image that given beside, the bursa and meniscus are didn't identify, but the bursa is a fluid-filled sac between bones and other that helps cushion the friction in a joint, while meniscus is a curved part of cartilage in the knees, found in the knees and other joints.
Morning. I'm here to present to you the joint movement. The first joint movement is the diarthrosis. It is no movement. It is found in our frontal bone and in our cranial bone. Second is the ampliarthrosis. It is minimal motion. The example of it is found in our pelvic bone. And the third is the synarthrosis. It is a synovial joints can allow wide range of motion. It is found in our knees, ankles, elbows, and many more that can allow us to move. Okay, let's proceed to the movement of frontal plane. Let us know the difference between flexion, extension, and hyperextension. When we say flexion, it is the decrease of the angle of the joint. When the skeleton move his or her head down, it is flexion. When he move his head up, it is extension. The extension means it is the increase of the angle of the joint. When we say hyperextension, when the skeleton move his head up or beyond the movement of the joint like this one. It is hyperextension. So let's proceed to the difference between protraction and retraction. When we say protraction, it is move forward or move anteriorly like this one. When we say retraction, it is move backward or posteriorly like this one. Or when we say in the GIF, it is look like this. It is move forward and it is move backward. Protraction, retraction. Okay, let's proceed to the difference between abduction and adduction. It is the movement of sagittal plane. When we say abduction, it is moving away from the mid-sagittal like this one. When we say adduction, it is towards the mid-sagittal like this one. Okay, let's proceed to the difference between inversion and eversion. When we say inversion, the foot sole is moving away from the mid-sagittal. So, like this one. When we say eversion, it is the sole move towards the mid-sagittal like this one. Inversion, eversion, inversion, immersion, inversion, eversion. Okay, let's proceed to the circular movements. When we say circumduction, it will form a cone like this one. When we say rotation, it is when you rotate or it will make a pivot angle. Okay, let's proceed to the difference between pronation and supination. When we say pronation, the palm of our head is downward. When we say supination, the palm of our head is upward. Downward is pronation, upward is supination. That's all. Thank you.
Arthrography. It is a radiographic examination of the soft tissues that forms joints. So it is a type of medical imaging need in the an evaluation of joint conditions and unexplained pain. Okay, next is the knee arthrogram. So first is the bursa. Okay, so it is a pillow made of synovial membrane and filled with synovial fluid. So this is the bursa. Meniscus. It is a piece of cartilage shaped like a disc with a curved surface. So this is the meniscus. Okay, so next, articular cartilage. A cartilage coating on the articulating surface of bone. So this is the articular cartilage. That is what we call an articular cartilage. Okay, circulation, movement. Circumduction. Movement at the end of the bone in a circular motion. Generally will occur at the ends of arms or legs limbed. Okay, so for example, and drawing a circle in the air with your fist, like this. You need to stretch your arm and draw a circle. So this is a example of circumduction movement. Next is rotation. Any movement of a body part around a central axis. This can occur at the shoulder or hip, ball or socket joints, or the neck. So example is turning your head from side to side, like this. So that's the example of rotation movement. Next is pronation. Rotation of the hand so the thumb moves forward the body's midline. So the example of pronation is palms facing down like this. So that's the example of pronation. Next is supination. Rotation of the hand so the thumb moves away from the body's midline like this. Again.